Hi, everyone. Good morning. Morning, colleagues, students, family, friends, honored guests, including our speakers, and friends like Tina Collins and Katie Koryakovich from the UFT, Laura Evangelista from Internationals Network. Welcome to the New York Performance Standards Consortium's annual conference, where we come together this year under a theme that feels timely and urgent: where thinking thrives. We are educators who believe deeply in the power of inquiry, learning that asks students to question, to analyze, to create, and to think for themselves. At this moment in history, this has never been more essential. We meet at a time when the values we hold dear, pluralism, truth-seeking, democratic engagement, face serious challenges. The rise of fascist rhetoric in our country demands that we understand what is at stake. Fascism thrives on conformity and the elimination of complexity. It fears diversity and demonizes difference. It replaces curiosity and thought with certainty, dialogue with dominance. Our schools stand as a necessary counterforce. Where authoritarianism demands compliance, we cultivate critical thinking. Where demagogues traffic in fear of the other, we celebrate the richness that diversity brings. Today, we're honored to hear from our keynote speaker, Dr. Carreras Salas Ramirez, a grassroots organizer and parent leader whose work as a neuroscientist reminds us that when we honor how students actually think, we unlock their extraordinary potential. Sadly, Chancellor Kamar Samuels has been called away for what we think are preparations for snow day on Monday, which we understand but are saddened by, but also excited for. Real snow day, please. But not to be outdone, we are joined today by New York State Education Department Associate Commissioner Elisa Alvarez, who will recognize students in progress to receive the New York State Seal of Biliteracy at graduation. In a time when immigrants are vilified and multilingualism is treated as a deficit, our multilingual students, like Keisha, an immigrant from the Dominican Republic we saw defending her social studies PBAT earlier, and the students who will perform and be recognized later today, remind us of a fundamental truth. Those who can move between languages and cultural lenses enrich our schools and our society immeasurably. To our students, being recognized today, your multilingualism is a form of thinking, a capacity to hold complexity and translate not just words, but ideas. That capacity for nuance is exactly what democracy requires. To value our multilingual students is also to defend them. I know that many of you are taking action daily, both inside and outside the classroom, to protect our immigrant youth and families who face escalating threats and fear, including at this afternoon's rally in solidarity with the people of Minnesota in Union Square. We need to continue to raise our voices. Our students need to know we will not stand by silently while they and their families are targeted. And before I close, I want to take a moment to honor someone whose work embodies everything this conference celebrates. After 45 years in education and a decade leading mathematics at the Consortium, Jonathan Katz is retiring. Jonathan understands that mathematics is a way of thinking, a discipline of profound creativity and beauty. He helps us see that when students' mathematical thinking is valued, when they reason and conjecture, they don't just learn math, they become mathematicians. Last spring, the Consortium Math Cohort launched under Jonathan's leadership, supporting 28 schools and over 50 teachers to implement an inquiry-based alternative to the algebra curriculum being mandated across the city. About her experience with the curriculum, one teacher wrote, "Students are even more resilient and creative once given the freedom from being right or wrong. Another shared, students are experiencing a mindset shift from passive math students to active math students engaged in making meaning. Jonathan, your legacy lives in the teachers you've mentored and the students whose mathematical identities you've shaped. You have shown us what it means to create spaces where thinking thrives. Thank you. I'm not sure he's here yet, but we're going to clap for him anyway. We'll show him on the video. As you may know, New York State has recently developed a portrait of a graduate in an effort to cultivate schools across the state to be places where thinking thrives. The work Jonathan has led, the multilingual capacities we celebrate today, and the performance assessments and inquiry teaching that have been the heart of our work for decades make us a model as schools and teachers across the state shift towards teaching students for deep understanding. As we gather today, let's remember why this work is not optional. In a world that rewards reaction over reflection, we teach students to think deeply. In a climate that treats expertise with contempt, we show that disciplined inquiry matters. In a moment when leaders attack education and educators, we prove that schools can be spaces of freedom, where young people use their minds as instruments of their own liberation. Where thinking thrives, democracy has a chance. Where thinking thrives, our students become not just workers or consumers, but citizens capable of shaping the world they inherit. This is the work we do, this is why we are here, and this is what we must continue to defend and expand, especially now. Thank you for being part of this essential work.